Lorn 5, the Orc war boss Gorgut's headhunter managed to return as a greater threat still during the Dark Crusade. He formed a new warband from Orc freebooters and pirates and others pushed out of the Lorn system and set about raiding worlds on the outskirts of the Tau Empire, gaining resources along the way. When Cronus sent out desperate calls for help against the Necrons, Gorguts sent his forces to strike at a vulnerable target. Gorgut's war fleet dropped out of the warp only to find Imperial and Tau fleets squaring off above Cronus. The Orcs lost several ships, but the clashing fleets were unable to repel the large number of rocks Gorguts threw into the atmosphere. These massive landing ships, made from converted asteroids, smashed into the Green Coast and unloaded their bands of Orc invaders. There, Gorguts brought the local feral orcs to heel and set about his conquest. The WAAAGH had come to Cronus.
Are the troops ready?
Yes, Arnell. The Earthcast is completing construction of the Montcar command post. Our armored units are ready to deliver the killing blow.
And our Kroot allies?
Also ready, Arnell. The Kayun command post in the city's Kroot quarter is prepared, and the Shapers have readied the finest of their warriors. Stealth teams are taking position across the city, ready to strike where the enemy is weak. And Kroot packs will defend the streets and meet the enemy head on.
Excellent, Commander. Patch me through to the troops, please.
Soldiers of the Firecast, Kroot and Mespid allies, today we stand as a bulwark against the selfish, the soulless, and the mad. Today, we must drive back our enemies from our city and from our world. Today, more than ever before, we fight for the greater good, and we will triumph.
Dead. We cannot win. Fall back, now! All forces, fall back. Evacuate the city. We will return, Arnell, to Tau for burial. There is nothing left for us here.
Before his arrival on Cronus, Warlord Gorguts had raided several other Tau colonies near the Damocles Gulf. This experience served him well as he sent waves of his boys against the Tau defenders of Asharis. Bloody melees between orcs and Kroot showed the barbarity of both races, and Gorguts was happy to send waves of his orcs to die under Firewar fusillades until he could overwhelm their lines. In the end, however, the fall of Asharis was a frustration for Gorguts. With the Tau forces retreating and taking the corpse of their ethereal with them, the Orc warlord was denied the gruesome trophies he loved so much. His frustration at not having Aunel's skull was epic in scope, and Gorguts is said to have personally eviscerated the orcs who actually killed Aunel, blaming them for not securing the ethereal's corpse. This outburst of pique, after a great victory, won Gorguts the name of Rage Screamer.
The enemy is at our doorstep and thinks he can push us off this world. He is already gloating. He can taste his victory. But what he fails to see is that we will make this his last meal. The Chief Librarian has ordered the purge of this world to protect our chapter's secrets. Are we to retreat with our duty unfulfilled? Are we to let a black mark stain the banner of the Blood Ravens? I say that we will not. I say our enemies will regret the day they ever decided to face us in battle. Our battle barge orbits overhead and will rain the Emperor's holy fury upon our opponents. More of our brothers will come to join the fight. But as ever, our enemy outnumbers us. Each of you must be an army in your own right. Veterans of the First Company, the finest of the entire chapter, stand with us. Let their valor guide your fire into the enemy's heart. Remember that we are Blood Ravens, brothers. We have all sworn to protect fonts of hidden knowledge. Each one of us must fall before handing this word to the enemy. The Emperor is with us. The unknown Primarch is with us. They have come for our blood, but they will drown in their own.
The dog is in!
Hold the tree! Don't touch the tree!
The dog is in!
No! We cannot fail.
The gene seed must be preserved. Get Captain Fuel to the Thunderhawk. Understood. Join them, Brother Apothecary. We will cover your escape. And you? We cannot allow the enemy to claim our relics. This area must be cleansed with orbital fire. The chapter will honor you, brother. There is no honor to be had in defeat. But someone must deliver the targeting beacon. Orbital control. Lock onto this beacon and fire. Full power.
The Blood Ravens chapter had faced more than a few orc assaults over its history, notably smashing the Great Horde on Tartarus. Perhaps because of this, the orcs under Warlord Gorguts approached the assault on North Vandia with especial glee. Here was their chance to prove themselves stronger than their race's greatest enemies. Victory in North Vandia cost Gorguts a huge number of his boys, but the warlord was happy to pay the price. Gorguts himself mounted 2 helmeted Space Marine skulls on his gruesome boss pole, and his followers emulated him. Many Knobs and other larger orcs who survived the battle mounted Blood Raven helmets on their weapons or wore them on slings as war trophies. In the years to come, the battered red helms of the Blood Ravens would remain the most prized trophy among Gorgut's orcs. For himself, the warlord celebrated his victory by taking on the name Gorgut's Bloodspiller.
With the 37 keys of Zinch, we open the way for our brothers. With the 1,000 whispers of Slanesh, we call to them. With the 12 plagues of Nurgle, we fell their enemies. And with the mighty axe of Khorne, we cut open the world for them.
Yes. Come forth to bear the word of chaos. Hear my warnings, unbelievers. Carried to your minds by the power of the Prince of Excess himself. We have raised altars in this land so that we may sacrifice you to our gods. Veterans of 10 millennia of unholy war wait to grind you beneath the treads of their mighty boots. The chosen of Khorne hunger to add you to their bloody tally. The blood god himself has marked this land and will claim your skulls for his throne. There is no hope in opposing the inevitable. Put down your arms, unbelievers, and bow before the forces of chaos undivided.
It is a poor shepherd who blames his flock, Apostle. This failure is yours and yours alone.
No, I will not go to the Basilica of Torments again.
Fear not, Apostle. The Basilica is reserved for those who may redeem themselves.
No. No!
You will have no such chance.
On Lorn 5, Warlord Gorguts had clashed with the Chaos Lord Krull, and that experience served him well when he sent his horde into the Demas Peninsula. Although huge numbers of orcs fell to the foul demons and black sorceries of the Word-bearers, Gorguts had plenty to spare, and eventually overwhelmed the heretics. Gorguts mounted the skulls of Black Apostle Eliphas and his sorcerers on pikes, and had them carried as grisly standards for his WAAAGH. The other orcish chieftains, as ever imitating the warlord, promptly went on an orgy of decapitation, mounting the heads of the countless cultists and Chaos Space Marines left dead when Eliphas withdrew. In the wake of his victory, Gorguts assumed the name of Demon Killer.
He's all gonna die!
At long last you have found the tranquility of death. I was like you once, clinging to life and blind to the truth. When I uncovered the truth, I too shuddered and paled with fear. Deep in these catacombs, I was remade. Here, my brethren slumbered for eons, while the living grew like weeds. My lord knew this day would come. He had plans for us all. We would purge this world once more. So come, poor victims of life. We will grant you tranquility in these crypts. Cronus will be a tomb world once more. Escaping. My lord, the living have...
Accustomed to the vilest of environments, Gorgut's orcs ran headlong into the gruesome catacombs of the Necrons. Although the Deathless Warriors reaped a massive bounty in orcish lives, for once it was they who were swept under a ceaseless tide, as more and more of the green beasts poured into the caverns. When Gorguts detonated the massive explosive that brought down the caverns atop the Necrons, he left scores of his boys to be crushed. Nevertheless, the survivors cheered their boss, even laughing at the ruthlessness with which he had sacrificed their fellows. Gorgut's headhunter left the Thorabis Plateau without any fresh skulls, but with the new appellation of Deathkiller.
Fifth Company, this is the moment of truth. You will not fear. You will not falter. You will not give a single step to the enemy.
But sir...
If you will not serve in combat, then you will serve on the firing line.
Enemies of the Imperium, hear me. You have come here to die. The immortal Emperor is with us, and we are invincible. His soldiers will strike you down. His war machines will crush you under their treads. His mighty guns will bring the very sky crashing down upon you. You cannot win. The Emperor has given us his greatest weapon to wield. So make yourselves ready. We are the 1st Cronus Regiment, and today is our victory day.
Longer. We can't allow the Titan cannon to fall into their hands. Overload the core.
For the Emperor!
Gorguts had suffered at the hands of the Imperial Guard on Lorne 5, and saw his assault on Victory Bay as a chance for revenge. Unfortunately, Governor Militant Alexander and his first Cronus Liberators were unable to deny Gorguts his want. The Orc tide swept through the desolate city, spilling the blood of men with virtual impunity. When the smoke cleared, Gorguts and his Orc mechs faced the remains of the Great Hellstorm Cannon, severely damaged by the desperate last acts of the Tech Priests of Victory Bay. Unconcerned with the heresy they enacted, the Orc mech boys scavenged every last component from the great circuits, using and abusing them to add power to their primitive guns and vehicles. In the wake of this battle, Gorguts assumed the name Gun Smasher.
All is prepared.
Excellent. Exarchracanus, take your warp spiders to their positions and then return to the Aspect Shrine.
We are on our way.
You have doubts, Harlequin?
I trust in your vision, tall deer of Oathway, but to stand surrounded by primitives makes me uneasy.
I understand your distaste, but Eldar rely on speed and stealth. We are not made for entrenched positions. The Orcs, however, make for excellent tools. They will keep the supply roads closed and our true enemies weak.
And if these attackers defeat the Orcs?
I do not doubt they will overcome our cat's paws, but it will cost them. And in their weakened state, they will face the wailing doom itself. The Seer Council has named the young king. Exarchracanus of the Warp Spider Shrine shall sacrifice himself to awaken our most powerful warrior, the Avatar of Cain.
None shall escape my wrath.
Close to us now. We are trapped on this world. The Avatar of Cain has fallen. Go, all of you. Find what refuge you can in the wilderness of this world.
Escape is still possible, Farseer.
I do not deserve that title, Harlequin. My vision has failed us all. My fate is here, and I shall not flee from it.
Farseer Taldir was perhaps too wily for her own good. Gorguts was more than happy to cut through the rebellious Orcish chieftain and self-obsessed heretic she used as dupes. Smashing the gates to the Eldar Wraith ship, Gorguts caught the Farseer in a simple noose and strangled her with it. On Lorn 5, Gorguts had tried and failed to claim Taldir's head, but this time he succeeded. As the fragile bodies of the Eldar lay broken across the frozen soil of Tyria, the warlord and his horde howled at the night sky. Unable to make any real use of Eldar technology, Gorguts' beasts simply destroyed every piece of wraithbone they could find. In the wake of this grand sacking, Gorguts assumed the name Ghost Killer. With the last enemy beaten, Gorguts' horde reigned supreme on Cronus. The warlord had draped himself in the cruel glory of the orcs, being hailed as the Headhunter, the Rage Screamer, the Blood Spiller, the Death Killer, the Daemon Killer, the Gun Smasher, and the Ghost Killer. The Orcish horde proceeded to pillage the planet to build their next invasion fleet. Gorguts himself set off at the head of that fleet, but Cronus remained an orc-infested world. And the warlord regularly returned there to gather forces for his next conquest. With such a fertile base of operations, the warlord would cut a swath through the Imperium's eastern fringe and the Tau Empire for years to come.